Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people, shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Welcome into Off the Cuff Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Lions fans from all around the world. It is 53-man roster breakdown night, but we have some good news tonight, man. It popped. Like the roster bubble it's popped. It's leaking all over the place right now because the Lions are playing. They're playing a little coy. I'm sure you guys all saw the news earlier about another guy, another player that was injured last season that was just added to the roster today. So the Lions never said this individual was getting close. Matter of fact, it was supposed to be like the same trajectory as Aleem McNeil. So that has me wondering. That has me wondering how close Aleem McNeil really is. I'm talking about Mekhi Wingo. So earlier this afternoon, or earlier this morning, I should say late morning, about, I don't know, an hour or so after we got off the morning show, it was released, Mekhi Wingo, man, activated off PUP, and now he's most likely going to be held out, right? Probably is not going to play this week, not going to do a whole lot. He's going to inch his way in, probably follow the same path that Khalil Dorsey did, working some individual drills, and then get into some of the team drills. But this is a guy that can play across the line. So he has the ability to go outside. So it's almost perfect timing with the Ahmed Hassanin injury. Now you have another 3 technique, 4 eye, and a guy that can get out on the edge, similar to what Levi Onwuzurike could do. It's perfect timing to get him back and rolling. It's a perfect opportunity for this guy. What does it mean for the roster? Well, then there lies the issue, doesn't it? What are they going to do? I get a little confused every year when the Lions make moves like this, right before roster cuts. Because the way I understand it, and we'll talk about it tonight, the whole night is about roster cuts. It's about the roster bubble. It's about the practice squad. We're going to do a lot of it live. Meaning I haven't fully prepared my sheet just yet. And I'm not taking any influence from you. You can say whatever you want to say. But I'm going to put my sheet together. And then we'll talk it out. I'll open up the phone lines at some point. Probably closer to the end. And I want to hear what you guys think. And what you think. Who you think should make this roster right now. One more game to go. One more week to go. And we're going to know who's on this team. With that, how you guys doing tonight, man? You all doing well? Hope so. So the first question right there, Peter Van Larhoven, did Ahmed's injury cause the Wingo move? I opened up with Peter. I think it's the Lions playing a little coy here. I think that they were probably going to keep Levi stashed, or I'm not Levi, Mekhi stashed as long as they could. But with Ahmed, out for 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever it's going to be, could be 4 weeks, could be 2 weeks. We don't know. Getting him up and going as quickly as possible. Obviously, that's a great situation for the Lions to be ready for the season. Totally not expected today. Totally not expected. Just like Khalil Dorsey. I mean, obviously the Lions don't have to tell us anything about what their players are doing, how they're doing, how close they're getting. I need to get Mekhi Wingo off of this list now while I'm thinking about it. But it is what it is. That's two guys now that have come back that were not expected to come back this early. So here's my question is, Aleem McNeil, right? He was injured. Wasn't it the same week? Wasn't it the same? Wasn't it the same game? I think it was. My memory's for crap today, so bear with me. Just got to look it up real quick. Let's see here. Let's see. McNeil was week 15 against the Bills. And Mekhi Wingo was Thanksgiving Day over the Bears. So that means Mekhi was what? See, a week before? 2 weeks before? Lee McNeil was December 15. Yeah, it was about 2 weeks before. Mekhi Wingo was Thanksgiving, which is what, November 27, 28, 26, something like that. So about 2 weeks. So if this tells us anything, what is that telling us, right? Well, Lee McNeil, like I did in that video, I said he's training now. He's not rehabbing. He's training. That's according to him. That's his words, not mine. It's his words. And if that's the case, Mekhi Wingo's been training. He's back now before the season starts, a whole week before cuts are due. Could we see a Lee McNeil in 2 weeks? Is that reality? Could we see him before the end of the first quarter of the season? Could he get a couple of games in? That's an interesting thought. That just really boosted this defense, if in fact it does happen. And Mekhi Wingo was looking good, but I mean he's still a little bit away. He's got to get in game shape. He's got to get his body ready. Who knows what he's been doing? I'm sure that the Lions have been putting him in good hands, making sure that he's ready to rock and roll for the season. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. Yep, Dwayne Keene, I agree with you there, man. Don't bring guys back too soon. Don't want another setback. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything is possible, says Trace. Let's see. What do we have to do to shut down the ads? Donate $10,000 to Rockhound Cancer Foundation. We'll shut them off for the rest of the year. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Do a headstand and let me know when you're done. Do a headstand, Bo. Let me know when you're done. Just kidding, man. Do 6 one-arm push-ups. It reverse, right? Behind you. I couldn't do it either. I couldn't do it either. All right, so let me review a couple of things here because I'm interested. I got to go over some notes that I wrote, and I'm wondering how this would have worked. So if they would have just stayed on the damn list. So if the players injured before camp begins, which they were, Mekhi and Aleem were, they don't practice, they don't play, they can attend meetings, they can do rehab, they can do all that stuff, right? They still count towards the 90-man roster, but they wouldn't count towards the 53. So they can be activated at any time during camp, but once they practice, they can't go back on PUP, right? You can't walk it back. So essentially, if the window's open now, they've got 21 days to see what these guys look like. And if we know the lines by now, it's when guys are ready to return, like they're ready within a week to 10 days, I think at most, you get some game action. If we've brought somebody back on a Monday after a Sunday night game or a Sunday game, they're usually held out that week and then they're ready the next week. Are you following me? That's what the trend I've noticed anyway. I'm not saying that that's how they operate. I'm saying that that's just the trend that I've noticed. Like when guys are ready, like they're ready. They don't push them, to get back on the team quicker, to your statement earlier, Dwayne, and then we have a setback. No, they want to make sure these guys are ready is at least that's my understanding, because one, we haven't really suffered any setbacks, outside of Mosley, which that was just a cluster, what anyway. So had they stayed on the, the active PUP list or the active NFI list, whatever they were on, right? He was on active PUP, Mekhi was, then he would have transitioned to reserve PUP. And he would have had to have missed 4 games. So that tells me they brought him back early because they expect him to play before week 4. So let's keep our eyes on this one. If Mekhi Wingo does not play before week 4, then the Lions just made another epic mistake in their roster building. My opinion, but I think they've done it in the past too, where they could have just left somebody on a list, left a roster spot open, right? You have to deal with it later, that you're going to have to cut somebody later, but at least you could keep that guy now. So Mosley never made it to reserve PUP. They activated him. He never played before week 4. And then he gets in, I think it was week 5. I think the first time was against Carolina, and bang, pops the other one, right? Could have just left him on a list. You could have saved somebody else on the roster. So I think we lost Starling Thomas. That's who we lost, which I think he's injured right now too. So anyway, tonight's conversation is going to be a little bit about that, right? It's kind of the ifs. If this happens, then what? Or, how can we do this and still maintain a full roster? How can we keep some guys that are really good? And how many years, of accrued service in the NFL do they need or not need to be placed on the practice squad where the Lions can then protect them? Okay. That's kind of tonight. Obviously doing the, Adam, thank you. I'll look at the email. I'll put it together here, in the next week or so. I'm not sure which game it's going to be, but that'd be great, man. I'd love to get 40 people. So just in case what he's talking about here about the trip is, the last 2 years and every year going forward, I'm trying to do away game bus trips. It's a way to help Rockhound Cancer Foundation. Like 5% of the overall, money that you pay would go to the foundation. So it goes to a good cause. 2, it's not that much more expensive, and it might even be less expensive than you traveling with yourself, right? You don't have to worry about the travel. Everything is planned for you. You get box lunches, and we're talking premium box lunches. This isn't junk. As a former executive chef, I'm going to give you some good stuff. Yeah, a sandwich is a sandwich, right? But I'm not going to give you a cold hot dog and a bun with a couple of packets of mustard and ketchup, and there you go. Not going to happen. You're going to have really good stuff. You're going to have so many different snacks, you're not even going to know what to eat. Your blood pressure is probably going to be high by the time you're done. Let's just put it that way. You'll have every kind of soft drink and juice and stuff like that you'll be able to drink on the bus. We don't provide the alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, but you can bring it. So it's a superior trip. It's a superior way to go enjoy a game, because then when we get there, we stay in a hotel, 3-star or better hotels, really nice hotels, like Hilton Garden Inns, or better. And then when we get there, we unload We do our thing the night before. We do a meet and greet with all the other Lions fans and the opponent. We'll go meet up with, some of the super fans or whatever, wherever they are. Or we'll do our own thing. And then the next day, if this is an overnight trip, we would do a full catered, barbecued tailgate event, right? And that's what it's all about, man. And we support local companies that are also supporting wounded warriors and vets. That's what I'm choosing to pick, those types of companies that are going to help our veterans, right? We'll handle and help the cancer survivors. So that's the type of people that I'm trying to partner with. I even have a company that's willing to help maybe donate some bus trips at some point, or we get a very, very significant discount. So that's the plan every year. Next year, just get your $400 or $500 deposit is, whatever it is. It's usually not more than $500. Get that in before the schedule releases, and then I can lock in your ticket. Where right now you're going to pay $400, $500, $600 to go watch a game away. We could have had those tickets for $250, $350. So it's a big savings. And then you just do the math, man. If it's going to cost you $100 round trip for gas, it's about the same for a bus. All right, it's pretty close, especially when you got 50 people going. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Adam. James, so how many trips do I want to do? I wanted to do at least 3 this year, but nobody got their deposits in. So I couldn't go forward. Like, I'm not going to take $100,000 and go secure everything. This isn't a business for me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe someday it could be, but I'm not going to take $100,000 to go secure a bunch of, tickets that I can't sell. I'm not allowed to sell them. The deal is I can't sell them. I have to transfer them to the group because they're group tickets. That's the issue. And you can't sell them, right? They'll sit in our account, and then if you can't go, we'll just, obviously whatever the rules say for the cancellation policy, our goal is to always get you your money back and find somebody else to take your seat. That's the number one goal. But you just can't resell the ticket. Salty, email me. We might know some people, man, to help get you on a fast track. So email me, mailbag@rockdown.com. All right, let's get this going. Let's get this rolling. Let me make sure I can get my screen loaded up here. Oh, you guys got to check this out. I made this new graphic. I tested it the other day. I think I locked it in. I need your upvote or downvote on what you guys think about this new graphic. Check it out. So what this graphic is going to be for is there'll be like videos playing, obviously, in that black screen area. And so that'll highlight all of our media highlights, our player highlights. All kinds of cool stuff will be in this little box. So thumbs up or thumbs down if you like it. All right, now let me get my screen loaded. Oh, of course, it's sideways. I forgot how I did that. Control E. There we go. I learned some new things the other day. And it's fun to learn new stuff. But now I don't know how to get it back. That's the issue. So we'll just start with a new sheet. All right, here we go. So the first thing that I want to roll through is the Detroit Lions 53-man rosters and practice squads over the last couple of seasons. So tonight is a little bit about education for us so that we can kind of talk about the history and kind of where this team has been going. what types of players they've been bringing in, why it makes sense or why it doesn't make sense. Okay. Why it makes sense or why it doesn't make sense that a certain player will remain on the roster. So you guys should be able to hear me okay, I hope. Just let me know if you can't, and I'll try to fix that. And okay, so you did hear me about the upvote, downvote. Appreciate it. All right, so here's the deal, man. 2024 53-man roster. Here's your offense. Lions kept 2 quarterbacks, right? They kept 4 running backs. They kept 4 wide receivers. And that's because I think J-Mo was suspended last year, right? I think that was the issue. I think he was suspended. I don't remember the full details at this point. I know I probably should have looked that up. Tight end, we kept 3. Offensive tackle, we kept 5. Interior offensive line, your guards and your centers, we kept 5. So 2 guards and a center on each side. So 2 guards on left side, 2 guards right side, and a center. Defense, 4 defensive tackles, 5 defensive ends. And see, this is where it gets tough, right? Like this right here is, we've got a stacked room. And so when you're talking about only keeping 9 guys on the defensive line, I said we're going to be anywhere from 9 to 12 this year, or 10 to 12 this year. I truly believe that. I think that we're going to be a little bit deeper on the defense than anticipated. Linebackers, we had 6. There's a reason why I've always kept 6, because I think we're going to keep 6. Cornerbacks, we kept 6. Mosley was on IR to return, so he was on the active pup list, or active reserve list. Safety, we kept 5. So that's 11 DBs. And then specialists, we kept 3. All right, so practice squad. Offense, we kept 10 players. Defense, we kept 6. We kept 1 extra quarterback, which gave us 3 total. We kept 4 extra wide receivers, which Tim Patrick, I believe he was brought up. I think he was brought up right away. I don't remember now if he was brought up right away in week 1. We kept 1 extra center, 1 offensive tackle, and 1 extra running back, 2 extra tight ends. Defense, we kept an extra linebacker, an extra safety, but you see they went very deep on the defensive line with 4 extra guys. Okay? So you can try to keep all those numbers. You can write them down if you want as we're going through this. 2023, again, 2 quarterbacks, right? Hendon Hooker ended up on the reserved NFI list because he did. I don't remember why now. Running backs, we had 3 again. So let's go back to 24. Running backs, we had 4. So that's a significant difference. And I think that we're kind of looking at the same thing this year with Craig Reynolds probably going to inch his way back onto this roster, or, stay on it anyway. Wide receivers, we kept 5. This has been the standard number. This has been the standard for a lot of teams in the NFL, but it's also been the standard for the Detroit Lions. The number has always been, or typically has been, 5. And this was the year that he was suspended. So we would have had 6 that we kept around, not including the practice squad. Tight ends, again, that magic number is 3. Offensive line, we are a little bit deeper here. No, I'm sorry, we are a little bit lighter here. We only kept 8. If you go back to 2024, I should have done it the same way in each one. We kept 10, right? We had 10 tackles. We had 10 guards, plus the center. So this year, in 2023, we only kept 8 on the defensive side of the football. Interior defensive line, we went up to 5 in 2023. Out on the edge, we had 7. So that's 12, right? So we've been anywhere between 9 to 12. I think this year it's 10 to 12. Linebackers, still 6. That number has not changed. We were a little bit deeper in the cornerback room, but we got a little bit lighter in the safety room. So I think we were 6 and 5. This time we are 7 and 4. Of course, special teams, you have to have 3. Now, on the practice squad, it's 9 plus 1 for the offense because we had the international pathway player, Max Percher, as an extra offensive tackle. We kept the extra. This is our third quarterback, David Blau. We got one extra running back, Zonovan Knight. We had 3 wide receivers, an extra tight end, 2 extra guards, 2 extra tackles. On the defense, if you've noticed the theme here, right? The defense has typically been 30-40% less than the offense as far as how many players we're keeping on the practice squad. 1 extra edge, 2 extra defensive linemen, Chris Smith being a big one, Trevor Nowaski, all right, Chase Lucas, an extra safety, and an extra kicker. The year of the kicker carousel, right? That was a crazy year for kickers for us. 2022, yes, we're going to go all the way back to 22, and we're not going to go to 21, and I'll explain why when I'm done with this here in just a few seconds. Offense, again, the magic number, 2, quarterback, 4, running back. Receivers, again, 5. Tight end this year, we had 4. Offensive line, we had 9 total. So it's kind of right in the middle of the first 2 years. Or the first 2 years. We had 8, and then we had 10. Now we have 9. Interior defensive line, 5. Edge, 5. So there's your 10. Linebackers, 5. This is the first year that I've noticed the Lions only had 5. But you see, they kept players in other positions. Corners, 6. Safety, 5. So if you look at DBs overall, which is how I look at it from 10 or 11, I think the Lions are going to keep. Specialists, 3. Now, I didn't add the practice squad for this year. For that year, excuse me. Okay, I said all that to say this. So when the Lions first started building this team in 2021, it was about an 85% roster attrition from 2020 to 2021. I mean, everybody was cut. It was a brand new team. A lot of the rookies were playing. Just like 2022, a lot of the rookies were playing. Just about everybody we drafted made the team and were playing significant snaps for the large portion of the season. And as you start to graduate 22, 23, you start to see how the roster is going to maintain in Brad's head. And no matter what, it's if Brad truly does this, they're going to keep the best football player, according to Brad, which means if that 6th safety or that 6th DB is better than the 6th receiver, then we're keeping a 6th DB or a 6th corner, right? And not a 6th receiver. If that 6th receiver gives us an opportunity in special teams, right? Playing as a gunner, maybe returning kicks, and also can play, on the offense. Well, that player might be better than a DB that maybe doesn't play as a gunner, maybe doesn't return kicks, but they do play special teams. But as a 6th or 7th corner, they may not get a whole lot of action, if that makes sense. So when you graduate this roster year over year over year, I think you start to see a pattern. And the pattern, to me, is pretty simple. It's 2 quarterbacks on the offense. It's 2 quarterbacks. It's 3 running backs, maybe 4, if you don't have a need somewhere else. Receivers, it's 5, maybe 6, if that 6th receiver has made a name for themselves. And, oh, by the way, they're doing things, on teams, right? They're giving you some snaps elsewhere. They're not just, a dry football player taking up a roster spot. They're actually getting some snaps somewhere. Offensive line. It's 5 and 5, right? It's 10. They're going to keep 5 tackles, 4 guards in a center. One year we had 8. I'm not real sure why that year we only kept 8, but we did, and I'm pretty sure that they ended up adding some players later on, if memory serves me correct. If you go back to 24, I think we had 10, right? 23, we had 8. 22, let me just go look. 22, we had 9. So I would say the minimum you're going to have on the offensive line is 9. Minimum. right? And so what I'm looking at based on the numbers is 4 guards, the 2 rights, 2 lefts, and 1 center. That makes up your 5 interior offensive linemen. And then you're going to keep 5 tackles. So you got 2 lefts, 2 rights, and a swing, which is like your skipper, right? Or maybe a project that you're working on, Manu. So I think those numbers pretty much have stayed the same, and we've seen that trend kind of work itself out. And then there's defense, or tight ends. It's anywhere between 3 and 4, but in a year like we're up against right now, where I can't imagine us keeping 4, period. I think it's 3. I think this year is 3. And it's pretty simple that there's other needs on this team, and I think that they need to keep some extra players on the defensive side of the football. So that's going to be my worksheet this time tonight. The third version is 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs. I'm going to go 6 wide receivers. I'm going to go 2 left tackles, 2 right tackles, and a swing. The swing, I'm just going to dump into the left tackle spot. 2 guards in a center and 3 tight ends. So that's our offense for tonight. Let's start with the offense. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let's talk about the defense. So on the defensive side of the football, again, I'm going to follow the trend, and then I'm going to compare to what we have on the roster. Adding Mekhi Wingo and Khalil Dorsey in the last minute here, that really just threw a big time wrench in this, because neither one of those guys can go back to PUP. Like they're on the roster now. They can't go back to PUP. Now they can fail in 21 days, but you have cuts next week. So they're on the roster. I believe you might be able to active PUP them. That's an answer I'll have to find out here in a moment, because it's just tricky. I don't think you can. I'll ask. Hold on. Defensive side of the ball. This is a really odd season for us to have, coming off a major injury year and wanting to be deeper in that respect, right? Wanting to be deeper on the defensive line simply because of what happened last year. But then the other side of that coin says, man, what happened last year is so rare. Why would that happen again? Right? And then bang, Ahmed goes down a week before cuts. Thankfully, he avoided the big injury, at least based on reports and what he reported. So I'm still going to stick with 10 to 12 on the defensive line. It just depends on what I do elsewhere. Linebackers, I'm always going to stick with 6 unless somebody doesn't make sense, but I think that they do. I think that we have to have 6. Corners, I'm going to be in that 10 to 12 range. So nickelback, free safeties. Let's see, where are they putting these guys? So the nickelback and the corners are lumped together, and then your safeties are separate. I only have 4 safeties currently on my roster. Let me go back to a couple years and see if there is a year that maybe we held less. Okay. So in 2023, we only held 4 safeties back. 4 safeties. Sounds like my mic is cutting out a little bit. Hold on here. Sometimes it cuts off my words. There, I backed it out a little bit. It'll help a little. Okay. So that's where we're at. Now let's bring in the spreadsheet. Let's walk through it. Is this making sense so far? I haven't seen anybody else really do anything like this. I've never heard Grant Stewart called the Lockett Rocket. I've never heard that. Yeah, so Salty, that's a good point. Like, how many of those corners are also cross-trained and can play multiple positions? See, that's the part that is interesting, right? Because you could keep less if you have guys like Avante Maddox and Rock Ya-Sin that can play teams, that also play safety, can play corner, can play nickel. It gets interesting. It really does. And that's why this is never a perfect science. I get really close every year, but it's not perfect. It's not, I'll never be perfect. That's okay. I don't need to be perfect. I just want to make sure that I'm better than the next guy. Right? That's all that matters. That we give you guys more information. Okay. All right, getting my sheet ready here. Make sure you guys can see it. All right, here we go. All right. So, starting with the offense. I think this one's easy. Hendon Hooker right now is not on this list. It's Jared Goff and Kyle Allen. Running backs, I'm going to keep 3 for right now. I can see a potential opportunity where Craig Reynolds makes it as a 4th. The question is, with Khalil Dorsey now back, how does that hurt a guy like Craig Reynolds in special teams play? Right? Maybe where Craig was, was edging somebody out, but now Khalil Dorsey comes back. And you heard Phipp this morning. He said it. Khalil Dorsey is one of the best gunners in the league. Or he said in the world. He didn't say in the league. He said in the world. He's one of the best gunners in the world. So I guess for me, let me fix this camera. That's how I feels about the guy. He's going to make this roster. He's going to do everything he can to fight for him to stick on this roster. As long as his injury's, good, he's on the roster, right? He's not going anywhere. I was really surprised to hear that he was back. But that's good news for us. Now you just got to see if he can get back to his old self. Okay. Craig Reynolds. Do I go 3? Do I go 4? Craig, I'm going to have to put you on the old practice squad for right now. For right now. And you know what? It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if he stays, if he sticks around. I need to have another screen open here. One sec. Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. So I need to know how many seasons does Craig Reynolds have accrued? Anybody know the answer? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? I don't remember. He has 3 accrued NFL seasons as of the start of the 2025 season. So 2021, he played in 13 games. 22, he played in 9 games. 23, he played in 11 games. Hold on here. In 24, did Craig Reynolds really not play in 6 games? That can't be. So that means that last year he did not get an accrued season? that can't be. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he played in 7 games. Played in 7 games. He should have had an accrued list or accrued season last year. All right, so you should have 4 years. So that means that Craig would be a guy that well, I'm gonna use some colors tonight. I don't know. We'll just do it on the fly. I'll do red, which means that Craig is gonna stick as a vet. He doesn't have to sign with anybody. So I'm going to leave Craig over there as the handshake deal number 1. He doesn't have to sign with anybody. So we'll put him on the practice squad for now. Does that make sense? All right. So we're going to roll with 3 running backs: Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sione Vaki. Wide receiver. I have Isaac Tesla as the number 3 wide receiver right now. The way that this is created, just don't mind my sheet. All this is saying is that we have two wide receivers on the right and 2 wide receivers on the left and 2 slot guys. Look, it could be X. I could go X, Y, and Z, and I could do, put all these players in different or very specific positions, but 2 rights, 2 lefts, 2 slots. That's how I see it going down. Isaac Tesla, Tim Patrick, Jameson Williams, Jackson Meeks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond. Now, the question is, I got to go back. I'm sorry. Hendon Hooker. Is Hendon Hooker going to be allowed to be stashed on the practice squad? Is anybody going to come after him? Right? That's the biggest question. Is he going to go down with an injury designation? Is he going to get hurt this week? Right? And he goes down with an injury designation. Possibly. He could get banged up in the next game. You never know. So for right now, I'm going to throw Hooker who only has 2 accrued seasons. I'm going to throw him on the practice squad, but he can be protected, right? So he can be protected. I'm going to change his color to blue, and he'll be protected. Okay? Actually, you know what? That's a bad idea. We'll put the protected guys at the bottom of the sheet. All right. So we've got Hendon Hooker as one of our practice squad guys. We've got Craig Reynolds as a practice squad guy, on a handshake deal. He could also get protected. In the wide receiver room, taking a look at the Lions roster right now, who does it make sense to put in there? Now, in previous seasons, the Lions have put 3 or 4 receivers into the practice squad. They've every year they've always added quite a few. Tim Patrick, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tom Kennedy, Allen Robinson. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw Mr. Tom Kennedy in there right now because it's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen, and whether he gets picked up by another team and he leaves, I mean, it is what it is. But he's gonna go onto the practice squad. At least they'll attempt it. But having 3 or 4 wide receivers every year, I think a pattern's a pattern, right? All right, getting into the rest of the wide receivers. Ronnie Bell, Jacoby Keeney James, Tom Kennedy, Dominic Lovett, Jackson Meeks, Malik Taylor. The Lions only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 11. They have 11 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They have 11 wide receivers on the roster, and they're going to keep 6. So that means they're going to have 5 left over. I think that Dominic Lovett is probably going to end up hopefully on the practice squad. At least for now. He's got some work he needs to do. Now, he could be protected. The way I understand it, he could be protected. But do we see anybody else on this roster right now? I mean, Ronnie Bell, did he make the practice squad last year? Does it make sense for him this year? So last year was Allen Robinson, Tom Kennedy, Tim Patrick, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I can't imagine that. I mean, you could put Tim Patrick on the practice squad since he is a vet, and if he really wants to stick around on your roster, then he'll stick around, right? He won't sign with somebody else. But if he feels like he could go play for somebody and maybe he gets a call from another competitive team, well, then he's probably gone, right? He's probably gone. So that's a risk you have to take. And I think on this roster, when you just saw the emergence of Isaac Tesla, and we already know what Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown can do, I mean, how many snaps is Tim Patrick really going to get? Right? You still have Khalif Raymond on this roster, and Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield catching passes. So how many snaps is he really going to get? It's probably not going to be a crazy season for him as far as stats. It wasn't last year. If he gets, 400 or 500 yards and 40 balls thrown his way, I would kind of be surprised, to be honest. I don't see a lot of room for these guys. It's good to have them on the roster because they can do other things, right? You want him on the roster because in case you suffer an injury, he can step up. And all of these guys, I think, understand that. When you're on this Lions team, it's not about you, right? It's about the team. It's about the team. Oh, yeah, Meeks is definitely ahead of Lovett. Meeks is on the roster. He's right here in the middle. So I'm rolling with 6. Isaac Tesla, Tim Patrick, Jameson Williams, Jackson Meeks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond. I'm going to put Dominic Lovett and TK85 on the practice squad right now. I'll come back if I see, some other guys that are currently on this roster, like Ronnie Bell, possibly. Jacoby Keeney James, I don't think he's done enough. Malik Taylor, I don't think he's done enough either. And I think there's some other guys that the Lions would love to have on this practice squad. All right, so next we're going to roll into the tackles. Again, I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. Right? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You got Taylor Decker out on the left. I think Jamarco Jones is making this roster this year. He looked pretty good the other night. He had some pretty quick feet. He was getting out in front. He was anchoring well. He wasn't giving up, like a ton of pressures or anything or sacks. I think he looked really well. So Jamarco Jones, I have him making this roster right now. When we look at the Lions situation, it's Coyote Awasika, Gunnar Britton. It's Miles Frazier. It's Justin Herron, which Justin Herron, I believe, I think he's done for the year, isn't he? No, that was Keaton Sutherland. Excuse me. No, Justin Herron is on injured reserve. Yeah, he's done. He's gone. Maybe just pull it up in the Lions site. It'd be better that way. Not that it's accurate, because. All right, we have Tristan Colon. Now Tristan Colon is down. I don't know for how long. I'm gonna have him probably on a list, right? Last I looked. On the NFL site, I didn't see Tristan Colon on any sort of a list yet. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here. But I don't see him on a list. which leads me to believe that there's the possibility that he's injured right now. He could end up on a list. And this was like I hate to use the word priority free agent, but it was a free agent that they wanted to help with this offensive line this year. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on an active PUP list for right now. And so part of these moves I think the Lions are making, bringing guys back too, is you're opening up some holes, right? You're opening up, some of the list opportunities to keep some of these extra guys around. So Taylor Decker, Jamarco Jones, Giovanni Manu, those are your 3 tackles. Christian Mahogany at the left guard, Graham Glasgow at center, Tate Ratledge at right guard. So now the question is, what are we doing with the balance of our guards and our tackles? Is Kingsley Agukin, he's a center. Is he better than, do we really need a second center is really the question. We have Tate Ratledge. And so for that reason, I'm going to say no, but I'm going to put Kingsley on the practice squad. For right now. Simply because I don't think anyone's going to pick him up, number one. And number two, I think that we're fine with centers when you have 2 centers already on the starting roster. Tate Ratledge can slide over at any moment if needed, right? That's why he's going to get a lot more work this week at the center position, as reported by Dan Campbell. So we've got Coyote Owasika, Netani Moody, or Netane Moody. Zach Johnson, yeah, probably not. Christian Mahogany, absolutely. Mason Miller. Mason Miller hasn't shown enough. It is possible he could end up on the practice squad. Michael Neese. Now, he has 2 years of service so far. I guess my thought process is I probably wouldn't put him on the roster. So we got Dan Skipper as our swing tackle. We got Giovanni Manu as our project. So those are your 5 tackles. And now we need 5 guards. We got Tate, Coyote Owasika, Graham, and Christian. So I need 1 more, which Miles Frazier will end up being that guy at some point. The question is, who's it going to be right now? Right now. You know what? I'm just gonna have to do it. Let's see, Michael Neese. Doing this live, there's gonna be a little bit dead air here when I'm looking stuff up. All right, there it is. Michael Neese is going to make this roster right now. So there's your 3 tackles on the left, your 2 left guards, your 2 right guards, and your center. You have the flexibility of Jamarco Jones, tackle and guard. You have the flexibility of Tate Ratledge, guard and center. You have the flexibility of Graham Glasgow, guard, tackle, and center. Coyote Owasika, guard. He also did kick out at tackle, I believe, last year or the year before. It might have been the year before. I thought he kicked out at tackle for a minute. He might not have, but I thought he did. The Dan Skipper, of course, we know that he can go left or right side. Penei Sewell could go left or right side if needed. So I think we're solid. So there's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 10. Sam Laporta, Shane Zielstra, Brock Wright. I don't see it getting any different than that. I really don't. All right, let's add them up. What do we do? So there's 12 boxes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 22, 24. So we got 24 offensive players. So I started out with 23 on the offense. Last time I did this on the 16th, so 3 days ago after the game, I had 25 on the offense. Now I'm back down to 24. I think that's a good number. When you look at what the Lions did last season, they had 4, 6, 10, 13, 18. They had 23 last year. 23 last year. I'm going to stick with 24. All right, defensive side. Bo Booth says, I'm comfortable with being wrong since I have a lot of experience with it. Don't we all, though? Don't we all? Yeah, Sorsdahl is on IR. Here, I'll give you a quick update here on that list. So, Keaton Sutherland, guard, he's on injured reserve, so his season is done. DiCaprio Boodle, he's on reserve injured, so his season is done. Taylor Decker's back with us. Morris Norris is working through it. Kobe Sorsdahl, he's on injured reserve back on August 10th. His season is done. Justin Herron, Kenny Aboa, Ennis Rakestraw, their seasons are all done. They're on IR. Now, Kai Robichaud, this one's interesting. So Kai Robichaud was on injured reserve. He reverted back to the Lions injured reserve list, I believe, after waivers. I believe he was settled out, which means now he could re-sign again, I believe, with the Lions. Pretty positive that happened. Dan Jackson, he's on IR. His season is done. Ali McNeil and the rest of the guys behind him are still working back from this season. So when you are placed on IR while you're in camp, so before 53 cuts, if you're placed on IR, not active PUP, but IR or NFI, your season's done. It's over. Curtains. See you next year. All right. I just bit into the driest pretzel I think I've ever bit in my life. Yeah, Chalmers. Wingo is activated today. So it absolutely impacts this. 1,000%. But defensive side, let's just do it. Let me run through what we did last year one more time. Defensive tackle last year, we had 4. Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Onzarike, Mekhi Wingo, and Broderick was placed on the IR to return list. Okay. This season, I think that's a little bit of an issue because you got Ali McNeil out. Levi is already gone. So you only have DJ Reader from that list last year that's healthy. But now Mekhi Wingo just came back. So we have an entirely different defensive line than what we started with last year. I don't think that's any secret. Defensive ends, we had 5. We had Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Josh Paschal, James Houston, John Kaminsky. The latter of the two are gone. Kaminsky, I believe, retired, and James Houston is, I think he's still with Dallas. So let's just kind of start with defensive end. So they kept 5 last year. And they kept 7 the year before. Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, John Kaminsky, Josh Paschal, James Houston, and the Aquara brothers. Man, this team is so different every year, isn't it? Since 2023's edge room, we only have 2 players from that team. Aiden and Paschal. Everyone else is gone. And from last year, we only have, we have Aiden, Davenport, and Paschal. So 3 of them remained. This year, I don't think it's any secret that Aiden Hutchinson is in, right? Unless we're trying to trade him for, the Bengal, right? Hendrickson. Are we trying to trade Trey for Aiden? Come on, people. Marcus Davenport, he's in, obviously. Ahmed Hassanin, I've got to cut that and move him back a little bit. I'm not cutting him from the team. I'm just moving him back out because we got to put somebody else in right now. So Davenport and Aiden are your starters. Now, Josh Paschal, he is yet to be brought back onto the team. So right now he is not. Right now he's on a list, right? So I'm not going to add him to the roster because he's not back yet. Now he's expected to be back. He's expected to be back as early as next week. I thought he would be back before Mekhi Wingo. And that's the interesting thing to this is, Mekhi's back, but Paschal's not. It's kind of interesting. So Al-Qadim Muhammad, I think he's done enough this season. Am I wrong there? I hope not. I think he's done enough to earn his roster spot. Currently on the chart here, we have Mitchell Agudi, Marcus Davenport, Ahmed Hassanin, Aiden Hutchinson, Nate Lynn, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Isaac Ukwu. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that are listed as pure edge. It's about time they got that figured out. So we have 7 guys listed as edge. Well, I have Aiden. We got him done. We got Davenport. We got him done. We've got Al-Qadim Muhammad. Nate Lynn was that guy that was kind of out there. I think that Nate Lynn could be ahead of Keith Cooper. And as good as Isaac Ukwu looked the other night, I think Isaac Ukwu is going to be on the practice squad. And they may protect him. All right? I only get 4 protections, so we'll figure that out in a minute. It's kind of this cat and mouse game that, you got to have your vet squad, you got to have your protected squad. Here, you know what? I'm going to make this simple on myself. I'm just going to highlight all those guys as protected. And then we'll put all these guys in here for vets. Make it easy. And then the balance of the guys be rookies or non-vets. See, like keeping TK85 and Craig Reynolds, that would be 2 vets considered on your roster. And you can only have 6. You can only have 6 guys. You got to have 10 guys that have 3 years or less, I believe, or 2 years or less, whatever it is. They can't be vets. So if the Lions kept 5 last year on the defensive end room and they kept 7 the year before, I'm rolling with 6 this year. Aiden, Al-Qadim, Marcus Davenport. Now the question is, since Ahmed Hassanin is going to be down for a while, who's going to slide into that position? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Nate Lynn. I'm putting Nate Lynn in there. Obviously, we have Mekhi Wingo back. He's, a little inside, little outside. Can do it all. And then we have Keith Cooper. I would hate to see Keith Cooper snaked by somebody. I think he's going to be on this roster at least as our 5th defensive end right now. And that's where I have him. I have him as the 5th defensive end. I need 1 more. If I'm going to roll with 6, I need 1 more. And see, this is the hard part. If they're not going to put Ahmed on a list, right now Ahmed is currently He's currently your sixth guy if he's not on a list. But I'm just going to expect that he's going to end up going on a list. I mean, how could he not? How could he not go on a list? If he's going to be down for more than 5 weeks or 4 weeks, how could he not go on a list? That would just be, in my opinion, I think it would just be roster assassination to yourself. So on 8/26/2025, I'm going to put him on a list, expected list. Let me fix this here. Does that make sense? Like, what would you guys do? Would you put him on a list right away? If you were the GM, wouldn't you just, I mean, obviously you want to let things kind of settle down for a week or a few days and kind of see where he's really at. But I don't understand the waiting unless it's just all about positioning yourself, right? All right, you can't really see what I'm doing because I'm working on the other sheet, but all right, here we go. I'm gonna take Ahmed off. I'm gonna leave him on a list. So that's gonna leave us with 5, which then it begs the question: Does Nate or Isaac Uku make this roster right now, or Mitchell Agudi? Which one? Right? Which one? All right. So if look at something. So Isaac Ukwu did bulk up a little bit this offseason. And I read something about that the other night. That he bulked up and he was trying to show off some of this new versatility. I'd say it's working. Against the Dolphins, he did showcase that versatility a little bit by sliding inside on multiple snaps. He did pick up a sack. He did prove that he can hold his ground against the run, which is a big part of his growth this year. I mean, last year he struggled a little bit, or a lot of it, really, against the run. But he added 10 pounds of what he called hefty better weight. So he's now up to 270, which could put him, in that bigger end roll, but he's got some good speed, man. He's got some really good speed. I'm kind of liking Ukwu over Goody right now. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's just what I'm seeing right now. So Isaac Ukwu's on the roster for defensive end. That just put it to bed. Or you could leave a spot open. Absolutely. I could see that. In the chat here says, I'm always on a list. This guy has to be too. It's so lonely on a list by myself. So give Ahmed some rehab reps to see if he recovers without surgery. Yeah, I think he's going to be down for a bit. I do. I think he's going to be down for a bit, again, based on what was reported. And I mean, look, you have to miss 4 weeks by going on active PUP. That's it. So you could see him back as soon as week 5. You could see him back after the bye week, depending on how things go. Or if things don't go as well as expected, maybe there is a surgical option that's needed. I don't know that. Haven't heard anything. Right now, I'm just hoping the guy can get back on the field sooner rather than later. I was really hoping to see him week 1, the Egyptian assassin or whatever you guys like to call him, out there doing his thing. But hey, he might pull a James Houston. and he might come back in the second half of the season and just fire out of a cannon and get a bunch of sacks, and be a wrecking ball. So we'll see what he does. I think he's going to be just fine. Looks like you guys have done really good on getting the likes up today. If you haven't subscribed, do me a quick favor and subscribe. Let me kill these ads for you guys. I apologize. I totally forgot. I like to do that for you. All right. I'm going to roll with 6. I think that they're in a tough spot. They'd rather roll deep than not. I'm going to roll 6. But that does mean Mitchell Agood would be, I believe, on the practice squad here. All right. All right, so next up, your defensive tackles. Big list. Miles Adams. Keith Cooper is listed as a defensive lineman right now. I have him more as an edge. We got Roy Lopez, Broderick Martin, Pat O'Connor, DJ Reader, Chris Smith, Tyleek Williams, and now Mekhi Wingo. So, way to screw us all up. DJ Reader, he's on this list. Roy Lopez, he's on this list. Tyleek Williams, Pat O'Connor. I'm going to put Mekhi Wingo as the 6th guy, or the 5th guy. So with Mekhi, so this is where we got to talk it out. With Mekhi Wingo now back, does that mean that Keith Cooper is pushed? Possibly, right? Possibly. More than likely, I think that Isaac Ukwu makes this roster over Keith Cooper. You could put Keith Cooper on the practice squad and protect him. And that's what's going to happen right now. And I'm going to leave Isaac Ukwu on there. I'm going to put Mitchell Agood on the practice squad as well, but I'm not going to protect him right away. So far I'm in a practice squad. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 8 guys. So DJ Reader, Roy Lopez, Tyleek Williams, Pat O'Connor, Mekhi Wingo, and Josh Pascal's going to be back here real soon. And that's where I'm going to leave that other spot here for. I mean, they'll just have to they'll just have to move somebody down when Pascal comes back. That's what they'll have to do if they're expecting that he's not going to be back before cuts. Man, I really don't want to see Miles Adams not make this roster. I think he looks pretty good. We kept 5 last year on the interior defensive line, and have already got 5, and we still have a Lee McNeil and Josh Pascal to get back. So I guess I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to put Miles Adams on the practice squad. Now, question is, how many seasons has Miles Adams played? One, 2, 3, 4. So he's a vet. So he's going to fit into that 6. So I got 1, 2, I got 3, I got 4. I need 2 more vets. All right, Miles is off this list. Broderick Martin, he's going on the practice squad. You know, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I don't think he's shown enough. I mean, unless the Lions really are going to try to keep 6 guys, I don't think that Broderick Martin has a chance to unseat Roy Lopez or Pat O'Connor or Mekhi Wingo or Tyleek Williams or DJ Reader. It's not going to happen. He's going to be on the practice squad. He needs some development. You know, there's still opportunity for him to get better. But I think right now, I think that his story is kind of written in Detroit, right? I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, what do you mean Decker is back, Brent? He's been back, right? Decker's been back. Attila, I didn't see a super chat. How did I miss it? Well, here it is. Appreciate you, buddy. $2 super chat says, KCJ, Lynn Pascal, who has the highest ceiling on Keith Cooper, Nate Lynn, and Josh Pascal? It's a great question. I mean, I would say that the highest ceiling right now is Keith Cooper because he's young and I don't think he's got a high floor. I think that Pascal had a higher floor and a lower ceiling. And he, you know, last year, I think that we saw him kind of jump out and played pretty well. And, you know, given the situation that he was put in, he didn't have a lot of guys around him to work with. So he was put into a really rough situation. I want to see Pascal working with the Davenports and the Reeders and the Hutchinsons, the Tyleek Williams and the Lee McNeils. That's where we're going to see the real Pascal. Every team needs a Pascal. Every team needs a guy that can be versatile and do just about anything you need him to do. A guy that just shows up, puts his work in. You know, he's not too high, he's not too low. He just gets after it. I think Pascal is a really good football player. He's just kind of been, you know, down on his luck through some of this injury stuff. And then, you know, obviously being a cancer survivor himself, you know, he has things that he's going through too that, you know, they elated on last year. Whatever had popped up. I think that they tried to say it was a scare. They just say it was a normal routine thing, but he had to get something cleaned out. And whatever it was, man, I just feel like Pascal he's got that dog in him and he's going to continue to earn it every year. I think he's right where he needs to be. Thank you for this $2 super chat. Bromart's going to Miami. That's funny. That's hilarious. He could. Yeah, I've got Decker starting on my roster. Did I miss something in the chat? Where does Decker fit on this list? On the offense. That's where he fits. He fits on the offense. Right? You guys were talking about defense right now. We're not talking about offense. All right. I think we're good here. Defensive ends, we've got 5. Defensive tackles, we have 5. And you know what? This is where the rubber meets the road, man. So we have DJ Reader, we have Roy Lopez. We could keep Miles Adams here. We got Josh Pascal coming back. Got Chris Smith. So here's my question, right? Chris Smith or Miles Adams? And I think that Chris Smith has had a better camp. Chris Smith or Miles Adams, and then Keith Cooper, right? So I guess, you know, I could keep I could keep Roderick Martin on this roster if I really wanted to. And something tells me that the Lions might want to keep his size. I mean, would somebody really come after him? Doubtful. Could you protect him? Yes. Would you want to waste a protection on him? Probably not. All right, I'm going to put Miles back. I'm going to put Miles back on this roster. He's just not a nose tackle. Since I've got 3 and 3 already allocated. Let's see, 3, 6, 8, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I'd be 1 over. Tyleek, Pat O'Connor, Mekhi Wingo. Nope, I'm going to call it right there. For right now. Now I'm going to roll. Oops. Yeah, 2, 3, 5, 6 defensive ends. Okay. All right. I am going to, I do have to make a change here because if I go 5 and 5, that gives us 10, which I mean, it's right in line with the Lions do. You know what? I'm just going to roll it. Screw it. I just hate to call this guy I'm going to put Chris Smith back on this roster. There we go. So we've got 6 defensive tackles, which I don't think we've ever taken. I don't think we've ever kept it 6. We've kept 4. We've kept 5. But anywhere between 10 and 12. Mekhi Wingo can be anywhere. Chris Smith can play up the middle. Pat O'Connor can play on the outside. Tyleek Williams can play on the outside. I love the versatility of this roster. I really do. Defensive end, I mean, 5 would probably be about it. Davenport, Muhammad, Hutchinson, Nate Lynn, Isaac Ukwu. I really, really like Keith Cooper, but I think you could stash him and protect him. All right, moving on. Linebackers, this one's pretty straightforward, right? So right now you have Malcolm Rodriguez on a list to return probably sometime mid-October. And probably sometime mid-October. Grant Stewart's definitely making this roster as your backup to Alex Anzalone. I mean, he can kind of play anywhere. Zach Cunningham's had a really good camp. Couple of decent games. Obviously, Derek Barnes is on this roster and Jack Campbell. Teron Gilbert, yeah, I mean, he had a decent game the other day, but he's just not like 6'1", 231, and he does not look 231. He looks skinny out there to me. Trevor Nowaski, I've been up and down on. Like, I would probably keep Pittman right now over Nowaski. I hate to say that, but I probably would. Ezekiel Turner, I have like zero confidence in his run game. You know, being able to shut down the run. He did look a little better, but again, we're talking against, 3s out there. I want to see him go up against 1s. He is just, his head is always, it seems like on a swivel, and he's always crashing in, and he gets lost in the sauce. and he's like in a blender. You know what I mean? The question is Anthony Pittman had a better camp than Trevor Nowatzki? They love Trevor Nowatzki. I've got to stick with Trevor Nowatzki. I have to. They love the dude. All right, Pittman's going to go on the practice squad. And Pittman has 4 seasons. So that means, you have the good old handshake deal. If it works. If it works, it works. Miles Adams is a vet. So far I have 4 vets. Just fixing my sheet here. And 2 guys protected. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, Pittman, you're off the list for now. Trevor Nowatzki, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Zach Cunningham, Grant Stewart, Alex Anzalone. That is a lock. All right, let's go to DBs here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18. So far I have 18 guys. Last season, the Lions kept 6 corners and 5 safeties, 11 overall. The season before that, they kept 7 corners and 4 safeties, 11 overall. In 2022, they kept 6 corners and 5 safeties, 11 overall. They always keep 11. Now, this year, it's a little bit different, right? Where we have Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox. Both of those guys can play nickel, corner, and safety. So it doesn't matter where you put them on a list or, on this roster. They can play anywhere on the field. So if I have 18 and if I add 11 guys, that would put me at 29. And then I have 24. So I can't keep 11 guys. That would put me, I think, 3 over. So corner 2, DJ Reed and Rock Ya-Sin. I don't know how it could be anything different. Or I'm saying corner 1, keep 2. Corner 2, keep 2 or 3. Terry and Arnold, Eric Hallett. Is there another corner that even makes any sense right now? I mean, I think Eric Hallett went from a guy that was not high on my list to now someone who's made a few plays. I think he's starting to look pretty good. I think he does well on teams. But we also have Khalil Dorsey back. So we have to think about that too. We have Khalil Dorsey back. They just threw a big time wrench into this deal. So we have Khalil Dorsey. Like Alan George, yeah, he's not going to make the roster. DJ Miller, not going to make the roster. Tyson Russell, not going to make the roster. All 3 of those guys could be practice squad eligible. And if I were to say anybody right now, I mean, Tyson Russell's looked pretty good. Nick Whiteside's looked really good. I'm going to have to put Nick Whiteside into the practice squad. He is definitely going to be overridden here by Khalil Dorsey. It's a pretty thick group, man. It's a really good group. So Luke Barku, his season's done. So we got Terrion Arnold. I thought no, that was DiCaprio Boodle. I'm sorry. Luke Barku. He won't make this roster. I haven't seen enough out of him to even put him on a practice squad yet. We'll see this weekend. Got 11 guys in my practice squad so far. All right, DJ Reed, Rock Ya-Sin, Khalil Dorsey, Terrion Arnold, Eric Hallett. That's 5. You got your nickelback. That's 6. And 4 safeties. That's 10. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Avonte Maddox, Ian Kennelly. I mean, is there any other choice? I don't think there's really any other choice right now. I would say that all those guys are fairly locked down unless some sort of an injury happens this weekend. I don't see anyone else making this roster outside of those guys. They've kept 11 every year, but I think because of the value that Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox bring, adding, basically 4 more positions to the roster just with 2 guys, I think you can afford to keep 1 less, right? Brian Branch can cover the nickel. Amik Robertson plays the nickel. Rock, Ya-Sin, Avonte Maddox can play the nickel. Well, that's covered. DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, Rock Ya-Sin, Eric Hallett, Khalil Dorsey, and Avonte Maddox can all play corner. That gives you 6. And then you have Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Avonte Maddox, Ian Kennelly, and Rock Ya-Sin all play safety. That gives you 5 safeties. So for that reason, I'm only going to keep 10. I'm not going to keep 11 where I was before. That's where I'm at. So let's add it up. We got 12. We got 11. That's 23, 24, 25, 26. That's 27. 27 on defense. 24 on offense. We're 1 over. We are 1 over. Man, we were close. Here's my question. So Ahmed Hassanin I have him off this list right now, right? I have him off this list right now. The biggest question that I have, and I don't know if any of you know the answer. I don't know the answer yet. Let me see if my guy knows the answer. If an international pathway player makes the roster, does he count? Does he count for the 53? Or can a team hold 54 players? All right, that's the question. No, I didn't forget Bates, Fox, and Hogan. They're right below here. That's the 3. All right, so that would be 27, and 27 would be 54. So I'm 1 over. I didn't know I needed to go over those guys. All right, so if international pathway player is on the practice squad, teams get 1 extra spot. We know that. If the international pathway player is promoted to the active 53-man roster, he becomes a standard roster member. So no exemption applies. He takes up 1 of the 53 spots. And see, and I thought that I read something during this offseason that said something a little bit different, or something was said that that they wouldn't count. I know he doesn't count right now. Like, we can have 91 and not 90. But that he does count overall. I could have sworn other teams have had an extra player on their overall roster because they were IPP. Are you down with the IPP? I know you know what song I'm talking about. You just got to put the O in there instead of the I. So we'll see. That's a bigger question I can ask somebody else that's smarter than me, because I really don't know the answer. And obviously AI is not going to know the answer either. I think AI is getting dumber and dumber by the day sometimes. Okay, so I've got to cut one. And it's not coming from the offense. I don't see anywhere that I could cut right now other than going down a defensive tackle and sticking with 10. Oh, wait. Wait. 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That says 3. 12. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, it's 27 there. I thought he miscounted. 12 and 10 is 22. 23, 24 on the offense. So it's Chris Smith, right? Or Isaac Ukwu. It's Chris Smith or Isaac Ukwu. DJ Reader, Roy Lopez, perfect. Tyleik Williams, Pat O'Connor, Mekhi Wingo, I think we're good. Chris Smith versus Nate Lynn, right? That's the question. Chris Smith versus Nate Lynn versus Isaac Ukwu. It's that triangle. Nate Lynn, Chris Smith, Isaac Ukwu. And I really think Chris is going to make this roster. I do. I think Nate Lynn's going to make the roster. What tough stuff to be in, man. You know, with Pat O'Connor being a vet and somebody that you could throw on the practice squad and protect, you know, I thought that I was going to have a really firmed up list tonight or 53 man and a practice squad. And I think I need more thought into this. I really do. I think I'm close, but I'm going to have to pull Chris Smith back off. I'm trying to look at how many years he has. He only has 2. Let's go back and look at the practice squad from last year. So we had at 10 offense and 6 defense. And right now I have the exact opposite. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 on defense. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 5 on offense. But when we kept guys on defense, we kept defensive linemen as a priority. And that's what I have right now. I have 4 defensive linemen. I have Miles Adams, Mitchell Laguti, Broderick Martin, Chris Smith. I have 1 linebacker, 1 corner. Oh, and I have Keith Cooper, so I have 5. I have 5 defensive linemen, a linebacker, and a corner. That gives me 7. And that's actually looking pretty good. And my vet squad's almost filled out. I got 2 more spots for vets. I have 2 protections left. And now I need to add some more rookies. So Chris Smith, he's off. I hate to do it to you, buddy. I think he's had a really good camp. But you know what? We got 1 more game to go. All right, so this is what my practice squad's looking like right now. On the offensive side of the football, right now I just have Dominic Lovett, Kingsley, wide receiver and a center. For my vet squad, highlighted in red here. Let me change this to white so you can probably see it better. Maybe I'll make these guys a little bit bigger. Oops. So my vet squad's in red. Now I might, have some go back on the offensive side now, obviously, but you need 6 vets You got 4 protects in blue, and then these guys up here will all pretty much be, rookies, 1 and 2 year players. Your vets are going to make up your 3, 4, and above. Your protections are guys that you clearly don't want to lose, which don't have to be vets because vets don't have to sign anywhere. So you can protect, 4 of these younger guys like Hendon Hooker, Keith Cooper. We could put Chris Smith in there probably. You could protect him. If they really, really love Nick Whiteside, you could protect him. But you have to kind of weigh back and forth who's going to get snaked. All right, let's talk practice squad for a moment. Here's our final 53. Offensive side of the football is Jared Goff, Kyle Allen. Any arguments? Any arguments with this final 53? Why is everyone thinking Miami is going to take our players? Nice is making the 53. I have him on my 53. TK85, I think he's like 26 now. I don't remember. All right, no arguments. Any arguments with only keeping 3 running backs? Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Sione Vaki. Let me sell you why. This is my argument. Sione Vaki is now playing gunner, returner, running back. He's going to give us 3 options to utilize his services. Reynolds plays special teams, but not in a gunner position, and he's not getting a ton of snaps on offense. So if you're going to stash a guy, it's stash Craig Reynolds because he is a vet, and that's why I put him on the vet squad right here. Put him on the vet squad so you can have that deal with him where he won't sign with anybody else. Then again, at some point, maybe he's just like, hey, I want to play with another team, Any arguments here? Anybody would keep 4? Would you keep Craig Reynolds on there? Major Pain, what do you mean? Edger, are we putting Reynolds? What do you mean? Where are we putting Reynolds? I put him on the practice squad right now. Receivers. Isaac Tesla, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That is your future. That is your top 3. Jackson Meeks is the next part of your future, right? I think he's going to be a pretty good football player so far. We haven't seen him go up against any ones yet. Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond, those are your vet guys. Outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, you've got 3 vets in this room. Jamison Williams is now entering his vet season. But you have, I think, 6 really good receivers. Now, we could drop a receiver. We absolutely could. We could drop a receiver, and we could add somebody else, elsewhere on the defense. All right, we could add in that other defensive end or defensive tackle. Oh my God, TK85's 29 now? No. Is he really? Goodness. Any arguments on the receiver room? What would you do different? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know. Meeks is the best player in the world. Yeah, he knows that. That's what he said. The world. All right. Offensive line. Taylor Decker, Jamarco Jones, Giovanni Manu. Right tackle, Penei Sewell, Dan Skipper. Let me look at our tackles one more time. Make sure I'm not missing something. Listed tackles are Gunnar Britton, Taylor Decker, Jamarco Jones, Penei Sewell, Dan Skipper. Those are listed tackles on the Detroit Lions website. So out of all of those, I'm keeping all of them except for Gunnar Britton. Now, I'm assuming that the Lions website is correct, right? I'm assuming that it's correct. I hope it is. It hasn't been in years past. which is crazy to me. How would a football team not have their own roster in that correct? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, our lads has been, I mean, I guess I could go open my portal and verify, but I shouldn't have to do that. Okay, according to our lads, there's Decker, Skipper, Manu, Penei Sewell, Jamarco Jones, Mason Miller, Gunnar Britton, all listed as tackles. So the Lions don't have all of the tackles listed correct according to our lads, and they're not even listed. They're not even listed. Wow. They still didn't get it right. Look at that. All right, so Taylor Decker, Dan Skipper, Giovanni Manu, Penei Sewell, Jamarco Jones, Mason Miller, Gunnar Britton. Those are your actual tackles that they have on the roster on the 90-man. Now, Mason Miller, we could throw him, we could throw him on the practice squad. There's a possibility. Gunnar Britton, I'm not sold on. Now, we do have Tristan Colon. So, Tristan Colon right now, I did not, is he on a list? I didn't see him on a pup list. I think I put him on my own pup list, which this is my pup list right now. This is my active pup list. We've got Rodriguez, Frazier, Pascal, McNeil, Tristan Colon, Morris Norris. Now, Morris Norris and Colon are not on a list right now, and neither is Ahmed Hassanin. But those are the guys that I'm expecting. Here, let me do this. Copy, paste. There. This is my expected pup. Right here. That's my expected for right now, because these guys are already on a list. I'm expecting those three to get added so that we can still maintain them on this roster. Mason Miller, practice squad guy, potential, probably. So let's throw him in there. Offensive lineman, 0 years. Mason Miller. I think it makes sense. I mean, out of everybody that's on this roster, Miles Frazier's on a list. Tristan Colon should be on a list. Glasgow, Mahogany, Decker are on the roster. Ratledge is on the roster. Penei Sewell's on the roster. Coyote Owasaka has the right guard back up. Michael Neese right now is third team. Kingsley Agukin is third team, but with Tristan Colon out, that bumps him up. With Miles Frazier still out, that bumps up Natane Moody. So that's why I added Neese as, well, left guard, right guard. Does it really matter? I think Coyote's a lock. They can both play either way. So it's either Neese or Moody that's not making this roster, or it's Moody or Owasaka that's not making this roster. But I'd be pretty certain that Jamarco Jones makes this roster the way he's played this year. And he's a vet. However, I could do the same thing that I've been doing with some of these other guys. And we could put Jamarco Jones on the practice squad. And you could save a spot. And he's a vet, so he doesn't have to go anywhere. Right? You could put him on the practice squad. I'll revise that later, possibly. So what are your arguments on this? What are you missing? Brock Wright's on the list. Right there. Or he's on the roster. Yeah, there's 2 tight end slots. Tight end 1, tight end 2. So you got Sam Laporta and Shane Zielstra, and then you got Brock Wright all by himself. I'm not keeping 4 this year, keeping 3. Peter, the roster is not in order, bud. It's not in any order at all. It's just tight end 1 slot, tight end 2 slot. That's it. Left and right. It's left and right. Shane Zielstra is our 3rd tight end. But this is left and right. So you got Sam Laporta and Brock Wright as your starters. Your starters are on the first line. Those are your starters. Your second or third players are in the second line. See where it says player 2? And then you've got player 3. So I have Giovanni Manu as player 3. Now, I mean, I could kick some of these other guys back because technically they're really not a number 2, but they are on this roster. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know why we're pushing Wingo either. This could be something that comes back to bite the Lions. So think of Jamarco Jones right now. If the Lions have any faith in Giovanni Manu, and I haven't heard anything about an injury update with Giovanni Manu. And I don't see anything online right now. I don't see anything. So if there's no update on him, then I would say I'm going to leave it where it is. Defense, one more time. We'll roll through it one more time. Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Marcus Davenport, Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, Meek Robertson, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. Those are all your starters on your defense. That is a hell of a defense, man. That is a really good defense. El-Kadim Muhammad, Isaac Ukwu, and Nate Lynn round out your defensive ends. Again, we could go down to 8 or 9 offensive linemen, which I think would be nuts, but they could. And we could stash a couple more guys on this roster. But we still have some guys yet to return. Anyway, El-Kadim Muhammad, Roy Lopez, Pat O'Connor, Nate Lynn, Grant Stewart, Zach Cunningham, Trevor Nowaski, Rock Ya-Sin, Eric Hallett, Avonte Maddox, Ian Kennelly. Those are your backups. Those are your backups. I could see where the Lions might want to add one more DB, as a corner, but I think we're okay. I really do. I think we're okay. Like having Rock Ya-Sin behind DJ Reed and Eric Hallett behind Terrion Arnold and Avonte Maddox behind both of them. I think we're fine. Amik Robertson can also play on the outside. And he did fine last year when he had to. So I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, practice squad. Dominic Lovett, Kingsley Iguacan, Mason Miller. Right now. Your vets that I have on the squad. Craig Reynolds, TK85. Hendon Hooker protected down there on the bottom. Defensive end, Mitchell Agood, Broderick Martin, Chris Smith. Those are your young pups. Nick Whiteside, corner. Anthony Pittman, Miles Adams. Those are your vets on the vet squad. And we got Keith Cooper down here protected as one of the young pups for now. So my practice squad is not full yet. I will fill it up tonight, but that's it. That's it for tonight. I know it was a long, what was that, 2 hours of doing this, just kind of BSing around. How did Adams fall? Miles Adams? Well, the problem is Mekhi Wingo's back. That's the problem. Mekhi Wingo's back. So is Miles Adams better than Roy Lopez and Pat O'Connor? Right? Is he better than Roy Lopez or Pat O'Connor? And I would say no. Now, last year, let's just take a look at last year's practice squad, because Pat O'Connor was around and he was placed on the practice squad. Yep, Pat O'Connor was on the practice squad, and defensively we kept Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike, and Mekhi Wingo, and Broderick Martin was on IR to return. So if that tells you anything, Mekhi Wingo made the roster last year. He's making it this year. DJ Reader made it last year. Obviously, he's making it this year. But Levi is done for the year, and Ali McNeil is going to be back in 4 to 6 weeks or less. I don't see how you can put anyone else in there. Does that make sense? Absolutely. I think you could see Pat O'Connor or Nate Lynn or Roy, one of those guys, Isaac Ukwu, transition to the practice squad when Ali McNeil comes back. See, Pat O'Connor being a vet, he can go to the practice squad, and I could put him there right now, and it could be a total, again, it's the handshake deals. Like, my final roster will come out next week before cuts. And that's where I'm going to determine, like, okay, are these guys going to have handshake deals with the Lions? Hey, I'm a vet. I don't have to go anywhere. Just throw me on the practice squad. I'm good. But if you do that, are you okay with rolling into your first week with Mekhi Wingo, backing up Tyleik Williams or Roy Lopez? See, that's where I would have a problem. So you have to think about week one. You also have to think about getting through cut day and waivers. And then you have to think about elevations. And then when you have to finally sign somebody to the active roster, right? Those are the problems. And look, I don't do this for a living. So, we're going to get some stuff wrong. I just want to beat what I did last year, and I want all this stuff out there just to see where I rank here with Mr. Holmes, man, to see if I even get close. He's the competition. You guys talk about watermelon in the chat here? Seriously? I've got a bone to pick with watermelons, man. Every time I buy a watermelon, it sucks. I knock on it, I smell it, I find the yellow spot, I do it all. I bring it home, I cut it open, and it's like no flavor. What happened to just a seeded watermelon? I just want a normal seeded watermelon. I really do. I want something with flavor. I don't want it to taste like I'm chewing on a sponge. I just want a freaking watermelon. I don't like I think the seedless ones, man, those things are just like half the other fruit we have now. It doesn't taste the same. And it's engineered. They're bioengineered. That stuff, I'm good, man. I'm good on that stuff. Especially once you go through cancer and then you start looking at all the crap that you're eating. And you look at every label now and you wonder what's in it. Right? Because there's so much crap out there. I go to some fresh markets. There's some farms around me, obviously. I try to hit up some of the stands. But right now is a good time, I think, to get some watermelons. The summer was terrible. I just gave up. I would go to Costco and get them. They all sucked. Put it to you this way, man. Have you guys ever noticed your bread? So I don't eat as much bread as I used to. So I'll buy a loaf. I'll throw it in the cupboard, right? And a month later, I'll I want some toast or something. And my bread's like 4 weeks older, past the date. and there's not one speck of mold on it. How is that possible? That shouldn't be possible. Not one speck of mold. Looks brand new, nice and soft, like I just bought it. Makes 0 sense. Oh my God, Peter Van Larhoven really hates Broderick Martin. Yeah, bread is loaded with chemicals. I listened to this Italian guy. Their bread, they've got some bread starter that is like 150 years old, and they make this sourdough. And apparently gluten allergy, people that have gluten allergy can eat the sourdough because of the way it's made. There's like no gluten allergy in it. I found that really interesting. But the way bread is made today versus the way it used to be made, right? None of this bleached flour, that's the first thing. You need real raw flour. But it also has to come from the white or the right wheats. My R's and my W's are not working tonight. The right wheats that aren't chemically engineered or bioengineered and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's nuts, man. The food you put in your body and how much different you feel afterwards. Anyway. All right, I'm going to get rolling. We'll be back here in the morning. Thanks for joining me tonight. I know this is kind of a long, drawn out. Hopefully it made more sense. Let me leave you with a couple of things. Physically unable to perform list, otherwise known as PUP, is for players that are injured before camp, right? So we have some guys on the PUP list right now. And those guys would be, your Ali McNeils, your Josh Pascals, your Miles Frazier, your Malcolm Rodriguez. And it was up until, today, Mekhi Wingo and Khalil Dorsey yesterday. So those guys, they can go to active PUP during camp, right? They count towards the 90-man. And then after cuts, they go to what's called reserve PUP. So they have to miss 4 games. They don't count against the 53-man roster. The strategy is to stash those players who haven't practiced yet on reserve PUP if they were injured before camp. You keep their rights and you free up the roster spot, right? How you do that is tricky. You also have NFI guys, so non-football injuries or outside of the NFL activity injuries, college, personal workouts, boating accidents, motorcycles, fireworks. You get injured and it's NFI. So the same rules applies as PUP. You still must miss 4 games. They don't count against the 53, and teams don't have to pay their salary, but they often negotiate a partial salary. The strategy used for NFI for rookies recovering from college injuries is you retain their rights without burning a roster spot or a cap hit. So I want you to think about something for a moment. Why do you think Brad Holmes always seems to target an injured player in the draft? Well, if you're coming to the team with an NFI, you gain a roster spot for a while. It's kind of smart. And you're expecting that player to be somebody, maybe not the first year, but maybe the second season. You're hoping that player is going to turn into a pretty good football player. So you're able to get the player in the draft, probably at a better, value. And then you NFI them and you gained a roster spot and the player. So when we talk about Brad always getting these injured guys, there's a reason for it. And I think it has to be the right guy. It has to be the right situation. It has to be the right roster. And early, when they're building this team, we had the right roster because we didn't have a roster. We're building the roster. So I think about some of those things when we watch how everything has kind of evolved over the last couple of years, right? Injury list and roster strategy is everything that, or it's something that every GM does. When you're on IR, when you're placed on IR, you've practiced and you hit IR before 53 cuts, your season's done. So you transition, like I said, to the active IR, after 53 or before 53, and you can have up to 8 plus 2. So there's the other thing that I haven't thrown on this list yet for the practice squad and IR is what would be called well, I guess you can gain 2 roster spots by designating 2 guys to IR before cuts, right? You designate 2 guys to IR before cuts. Those guys can come back. So all the other guys that you designate with IR, they're gone. So if we think about that for a moment, someone like Ahmed Hassanin could end up on IR with the return designation, right? With a return designation. And so then he only has to miss 4 games. And you can do that with 2 players. Now, on your practice squad, just so you understand the rules, you can have 16 guys, 17 if one is International Pathway Program. Eligibility, you have to have 10 players with 2 or less seasons, and then 6 players with no limit. Each player can be elevated 3 times per season. Teams can also protect up to 4 players weekly from being signed away. So each week you put, the big old P on that player and they can't be signed away. Get this. This is their salary. A rookie makes $13,000 a week on the practice squad. A vet makes anywhere from $17,500 to $22,000 a week on the practice squad. Now, their salaries really don't kick in until week 1. So if you were to stay on the practice squad for all 18 weeks, that's $234,000 a year for sitting on the practice squad for 18 weeks. And if you're on the practice squad through the Super Bowl run, we'll just call it 22 weeks. That's $286,000 that they would make for 22 weeks out of the year. It's not, it's good money, right? But I would be lying to you if I told you that, that money can't be made, right? Elsewhere. Like $300,000 a year is great money, but it's not like these guys are making huge money by sitting on the practice squad. Need to be up on that roster with a deal.
Yeah, welcome to the Lion's Den.
There you go. What else? I think that's it. I think that's it that I just wanted to let you guys know about the rules. There's a vested veteran and then there's non-vested veterans, and that part I didn't quite understand. Like, I think that there's a veteran for a practice squad and then there's a vested veteran for getting NFL bonus, or not bonuses. NFL what do you call it? Like their insurance, their medical care, their lifetime care, their 401ks. If you've been in the league for 4 years and you've had 4 accrued seasons, you then become vested. So you will get, some sort of a post-football retirement, at some point. You'll get a retirement from the NFL. So all you have to do is make it 4 seasons in the NFL, and you get some sort of a retirement from them. So just little stuff that I find along the way. Obviously, your punters, Jack Fox, Jake Bates, Hogan Hatton, rounds out your practice squad. That's it for tonight. We'll see you guys back in the morning. Appreciate you guys joining the Rockdown Detroit Lions Off the Cuff podcast. Tonight's 53-man breakdown. Did we get it right? We'll find out next week. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Yeah, welcome to the Lion's Den.